Okay, let's unpack this. Let's really get into it. Are you truly experiencing love? That boundless, uplifting kind? Or have you perhaps, maybe without even realizing it, become deeply addicted to the profound, yet, let's be honest, ultimately draining feeling of being intensely needed?
Hmm.
This deep dive, well, it's really tailor made for you if you found yourself pouring every single ounce of your energy, emotional, mental, even physical, into a relationship.
Yeah.
You keep hoping, right? That if you just give a little more, if you just do a little more, you can somehow, I don't know, earn a permanent place, a secure
That
connection.
sense of permanence, yeah.
Only to discover yourself feeling utterly depleted, just hollowed out, and questioning the very essence of your most intimate connections. It's a powerful, often silent struggle that so many of us navigate.
It really is.
Yeah.
And what's truly fascinating here, and honestly often heartbreaking, is just how subtly these dynamics can take root in our lives. They just weave themselves into the fabric of our relationships
Mm.
with such, like, intricate precision that it becomes incredibly difficult to distinguish genuine, reciprocal affection from, well, from a deep-seated, sometimes totally unconscious need for validation.
Right, that validation piece is key.
Absolutely. A need we try to fulfill by constantly being indispensable to someone else. And this just raises a crucial question that I think we all need to confront at some point. How do we even begin the arduous yet ultimately liberating process of untangling these intricately intertwinned emotions?
Especially when they feel so close, right? So familiar, perhaps, to what we've been taught love should look like.
Exactly. That's the trap.
And that intricate intertwining you mentioned, that
Yeah.
sense of feeling, I guess, responsible for another's well-being, that's exactly what we want to illuminate today. Our mission for this deep dive, it's kind of twofold. It's both a gentle yet firm wake-up call, and also a profound invitation to embark on a journey of healing.
An invitation. I like that.
We're going to dive deep into recognizing the subtle, often insidious trap of needing to be needed. And maybe more importantly, understand how it impacts not just our romantic relationships, but our entire sense of self, our personal peace, and yeah, even our spiritual well being.
Indeed. And we'll start by uh, precisely defining codependency. We need to get clear on that first.
Okay.
And then contrast it sharply with what our sources beautifully refer to as covenant love. It's a really powerful distinction.
Love and love.
And
Oh,
we'll explore the deep, often surprising roots of these unconscious patterns. We'll look at why we might gravitate towards them in the first place.
the why is so important.
Yes. And finally, perhaps most importantly, we'll delve into the crucial spiritual dimension of breaking free from these entanglements. Because if we connect this to the bigger picture, you'll see this isn't merely about understanding relationship dynamics.
Right. It's bigger than that. It's much bigger. It's about reclaiming your deepest peace, rediscovering your true purpose, and ultimately stepping into your authentic identity in a way that truly serves you and aligns with a higher, more fulfilling design for connection.
Okay, so let's dive headfirst into this subtle, often invisible trap, the feeling of needing to be needed. It's remarkably easy to confuse this intense sense of utility with genuine love, isn't
Oh,
it?
incredibly easy, especially given our background.
Exactly. And what our sources reveal next about how these patterns take root, well, it's particularly compelling. It really challenged my own assumptions, I have to say.
Hmm.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Many of us, maybe without even realizing it, grew up in environments where love felt conditional, where it literally had to be earned through performance or sacrifice.
That's a huge factor, the earning love piece.
Totally. Perhaps you were cast early on in the role of a family rescuer, or you felt deep down that to be truly worthy of affection and attention, you constantly had to fix people, manage situations, or solve problems for those around you. Even problems that were way beyond your emotional capacity as a child.
Exactly, problems you had no business solving. And this fundamentally distorts our understanding of what healthy, unconditional affection truly looks like. It just lays the groundwork for future struggles, doesn't it?
It absolutely lays the groundwork. You've hit on such a critical point there. This subtle trap often begins to form when our foundational understanding of love is distorted from a very early age, much like you just described so vividly.
Hmm.
It's a profound shift. It really is. Moving away from an inherent, unconditional acceptance, a recognition of our intrinsic worth simply for being, to something transactional, an
That's
exchange.
transactional love.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in this dynamic, our value unfortunately becomes tied, often subconsciously, to our utility to others. We start to internalize the belief deep down that the more we do for people, the more indispensable we are, the more
Yes.
valuable we are. Exactly. And therefore, the more loved and secure we must be. But it's such a precarious foundation for any relationship. It ties our entire self-worth to external performance and the needs of others, rather than to our own unshakable intrinsic value.
It's like building your house on shifting sand, like you said, always reliant on external winds.
Precisely. Never truly stable.
And this precarious foundation, this distortion, it inevitably leads us to internalize some core, often subconscious beliefs. Beliefs that get deeply fostered by this trap. And these beliefs, gosh, they can truly anchor us in unhealthy patterns, almost like invisible chains.
They really can.
The first one we see consistently emerge in our sources is this: your value is in what you do for a man. That's a powerful statement.
It really is.
Think about it honestly, you listening right now. Have you ever found yourself constantly performing tasks, always solving his problems, making immense personal sacrifices, maybe telling yourself it's all under the guise of demonstrating your love?
A lot of nodding heads out there, I imagine.
I bet. But deep down, maybe it's not purely about love. Maybe it's about proving your indispensable worth, making yourself so useful, so essential that that fear of them leaving you feels somewhat mitigated.
You're trying to control the outcome through service.
Yes. It's about becoming the solution, the caretaker, the one without whom they simply cannot function, or so you believe.
Precisely. And this ties directly into the second core belief, which is such a deeply ingrained one for many. If he needs you, he won't leave you.
Oof. Yeah. That one hits hard.
It does, because this belief is rooted in a profound, often unacknowledged, and certainly unprocessed fear of abandonment. That is a powerful, powerful fear.
Primal, almost.
Very primal. And this belief operates as a perceived shield, right? A psychological defense mechanism against that deep fear. By consistently making ourselves indispensable, by taking on the emotional or practical burdens of another person.
We think we're creating safety.
We think we are. In our own minds, we create a dynamic where their dependence on us becomes our perceived security. But it's a tragically ironic situation, because while we seek security this way, this actually creates a self-reinforcing cycle where true intimacy, the real stuff, yeah, intimacy built on mutual respect, independent wholeness, shared vulnerability, it can never fully blossom. The more they need you in this transactional way, the less they truly see you as an equal, whole, capable partner.
So the need overshadows the person.
Exactly. And the more you, in turn, feel compelled to continue the doing to maintain that fragile illusion of connection, it's like a treadmill you can never quite step off. Utterly exhausting.
And the third belief. Oh, this one just hits so many of us right in the heart. Perhaps because we've lived it or we've seen it so closely in friends or family. If you heal him, he'll finally love you back.
The fixer complex.
Yes. How many times have we seen someone, maybe even caught ourselves, tirelessly trying to fix a partner?
Yeah.
Pouring your energy, your precious time, your entire emotional well-being into trying to mend their wounds, solve their deep-seated issues.
Believing, truly believing.
With every fiber of your being.
Yeah.
Believing that if you just work hard enough, if your love is strong enough, pure enough, they will miraculously transform, like magic. And then finally, the relationship will become that real love you crave, that secure, reciprocal connection you believe you truly deserve. It's just a heartbreaking scenario because, as our sources consistently show,
It rarely works out that way.
it rarely, if ever, leads to that desired, healthy outcome. It often just leads to deeper exhaustion and, frankly, resentment for the one doing all the heavy lifting, all the healing.
And this whole framework, these three core beliefs we've just discussed, they fundamentally misunderstand the very nature of human connection. And, crucially, personal responsibility.
Personal responsibility, that's key.
Absolutely key. It places an unrealistic, unsustainable, and frankly, an almost divine burden on one individual to be the sole source of healing or stability for another. It's just too much.
You can't be someone's savior.
You can't. When we consciously or unconsciously adopt these beliefs, we inadvertently prevent authentic reciprocal growth for both people. True, lasting healing and transformative change must always come from within each individual.
Not from the outside fix.
Exactly. When one person attempts to fix the other, it often creates this deep-seated power imbalance. It fosters resentment, maybe subtly, from the one being fixed because nobody really wants to be a project.
No.
And ultimately, it obstructs the development of a healthy, interdependent relationship where both partners stand on their own strength, contributing from a place of wholeness, rather than one person perpetually propping up the other. It's just not sustainable, and like you said earlier, it's not truly love.
But what if? And this is a truly liberating thought that came through so strongly in our sources. What if we're designed for something entirely different?
Hmm. What if?
The research we analyzed, the wisdom in these texts, it suggests a powerful, almost revolutionary truth. You, my friend listening, you were designed to be a partner, an equal, a co-journeyer,
Not a crutch.
not someone's crutch, not their project manager, and certainly not their personal unpaid therapist. This is such a fundamental shift in perspective, and once embraced, it can literally change everything about how you approach relationships.
It really can. This idea, it challenges the very foundation of that need-to-be-needed dynamic we've been discussing. It implies a relationship built first and foremost on mutual respect,
Respect, yes.
where each person is seen and honored as a whole, capable and divinely created individual. It's about shared responsibility, where both partners actively contribute to the relationship's well-being from a place of individual strength and security.
Not dependence.
Not dependence, exactly. Rather than one being chronically dependent or one carrying the entire overwhelming weight of another's brokenness, it's about two distinct individuals walking alongside each other,
Yeah.
supporting, encouraging, growing together
As equal.
as equals, each committed to their own healing and emotional well-being while also contributing to the collective health of the partnership. Just imagine the relief. Imagine the freedom in that kind of connection.
That relief sounds absolutely incredible. So let's circle back. What does this all mean when we talk about codependency? It's a term, like you said, we hear thrown around quite a bit, often inaccurately. How does what we've just discussed, this need to be needed, this fixing, how does it truly define that often misunderstood concept?
Okay, good question. Codependency, as described across our sources, essentially operates on this principle. And it's a very telling one. If you're okay, then I'm okay.
Wow, my okayness depends on your okayness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a pervasive pattern where one's identity, one's self-worth, even one's emotional stability becomes intricately, deeply wrapped up in another person's brokenness, their problems, or their unending needs.
You lose yourself in them.
You really do. You become, in essence, deeply addicted to helping, driven by a profound, sometimes desperate hope that your love, your effort, your sacrifice alone will somehow be enough to change them, to fix them, to make them whole.
Can you give us some examples? What does that look like day to day?
Sure. Think about constantly striving to solve someone's problems, maybe even when they haven't explicitly asked for your help. Or perhaps more subtly, even when your intervention repeatedly proves ineffective, but you keep trying anyway.
Like you can't stop yourself.
Right. Or sacrificing your own needs, your own desires, your own well-being, your sleep, your friendships, your hobbies, your peace, sacrificing all that to appease another person, to feeling this overwhelming sense of responsibility for their emotions, their successes, or even their failures.
Taking on their stuff as your own.
Completely. Like, remember Mark, the listener you mentioned earlier? His wife struggled with chronic indecision. He found himself not only making all their joint decisions, but even, like, calling her boss to mediate small conflicts at her job. Yeah. He believed he was helping her, genuinely thought he was being supportive, but truly, he was preventing her from developing her own agency, her own ability to handle things, and it reinforced his role as her emotional caretaker.
And his need to be the caretaker.
Precisely. These are classic indicators of a codependent dynamic. Your sense of worth is derived from their perceived need for you, and your well-being is entirely conditional on their state of being. It's just exhausting even to describe it.
It is, absolutely. And it sounds like a constant energetic drain, doesn't it? Just leaking energy all the time. But then there's this profoundly different kind of connection, this covenant love, the kind our sources say we're called to. This sounds like a complete and utter paradigm shift from what we've just laid out.
It absolutely is. A complete re-architecture, really, of how we understand and experience connection. Covenant love is fundamentally rooted in freedom, wholeness, and truth.
Freedom, wholeness, truth. Okay.
Unlike codependency, it doesn't seek to control or to fix or to subtly manipulate another person's journey. No. Instead, it aims to support, to encourage, and to grow alongside another.
Alongside not carrying them.
Exactly. But always, crucially, from a place of individual strength, security, and personal responsibility. It's about two whole individuals choosing to come together, not two broken halves desperately trying to complete each other.
That's a huge difference.
It is.
Right.
And if we look at that beautiful description articulated in 1 Corinthians 13, it highlights attributes that are just the direct opposite of codependent tendencies.
Let's look at that. How does it contrast?
Okay, well, for instance, love is patient and kind. Think about that. Patient and kind. This stands in stark contrast to the desperation, the frantic impatience, or the harsh, often critical behaviors often seen when someone is trying desperately to fix a partner or force change.
Right. Patience implies acceptance of their pace.
Exactly. And kindness implies gentleness. Then it says, it is not self-seeking. This means it's not rooted in people-pleasing or a subtle manipulation to gain affection, validation, or simply to feel needed. The motivation is pure.
It's not about what I get out of it.
Precisely. And significantly, it keeps no record of wrongs. This is huge in codependent dynamics, where scorekeeping is common. Covenant love means it's not guilt-based. It's not using past sacrifices as leverage.
Remember all I did for you.
Exactly that. It's not a tool for manipulation, as often happens when one feels they have earned something by constantly helping another. It's about genuine, unconditional regard, a profound appreciation for who the other person is, not a transactional arrangement based on what they need you to do for them.
So if I'm hearing this right, and this is such a crucial distinction, where codependency drains you, just leaves you emotionally, physically, spiritually bankrupt, covenant love actually builds you up.
Yeah.
It nourishes you. It's a profound difference in energetic exchange. One depletes, the other enriches, leaving both individuals more whole. Is that fair?
Absolutely. You've articulated the core difference perfectly. One creates a constant deficit. It fosters resentment, exhaustion, and that sense of being perpetually unfulfilled no matter how much you give.
The empty cup.
The empty cup, exactly. The other, covenant love, it generates a surplus, a beautiful wellspring of peace, joy, mutual growth, and an abiding sense of security. It's a foundational distinction that ultimately determines the health, the sustainability, and the profound satisfaction found in any relationship. It really defines whether the relationship becomes a source of life or a slow, painful drain.
Okay. Now, many of us hearing all this might feel a deep resonance, like, yes, that's me, but then immediately think, but I didn't choose this dynamic. I swear, I just keep falling into it over and over again. It feels involuntary, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Almost like a magnetic force drawing us to these familiar, yet ultimately destructive situations.
That's such a common and very understandable sentiment. It really is. And it's important to acknowledge that feeling of being caught in a loop, like you have no control over it.
Yeah, like, why me again?
Right. And that sentiment, I just keep falling into it, it raises an incredibly important question. While it might feel like an unconscious pattern, an inescapable default setting, truly understanding its origins is absolutely crucial for genuinely breaking free. You have to understand the why to change the what.
Okay.
The sources we've examined consistently suggest there are specific, often deeply personal, and frequently unhealed reasons why we gravitate towards these dynamics. Reasons that are rooted in our earliest experiences and fundamentally shape our understanding of love, connection, and self-worth.
And it's not about blame.
Not at all about assigning blame. It's about cultivating a profound awareness, shining a light on those hidden corners, and ultimately moving towards liberation from these cycles. Understanding empowers change.
Okay, let's delve into these deep roots then, because understanding them feels like the first real step towards untangling them. What's the first major factor the sources point to?
One highly significant factor is childhood trauma, particularly situations where love was implicitly or explicitly linked to overfunctioning.
Overfunctioning, meaning doing too much.
Exactly. Doing more than what was age-appropriate or healthy. Imagine a young mind internalizing the belief that being loved, truly seen and valued, meant constantly doing for others, or taking on emotional or practical problems far beyond their years.
Like being the little adult.
Precisely. Perhaps a child had to quickly become an emotional caretaker for a parent struggling with addiction or mental illness. Or maybe they had to assume significant household responsibilities just to maintain some semblance of stability.
Keeping the peace.
Keeping the peace, providing constant reassurance to a volatile sibling, all in the desperate hope of gaining affection, stability, or even just to prevent things from falling apart. That experience imprints a powerful, deceptive message. Your value is intrinsically linked to your ability to manage, to perform, to fix, to be the steady one.
Wow. Okay. And what's another root cause?
Very closely related to that, forming another significant root, is the impact of absent or emotional unavailable fathers.
The father weren't.
Yes. This can create a profound void in a young girl's life, a subconscious yearning to earn that father's presence, his attention, his affirmation, or his much-needed emotional connection that just wasn't there.
Trying to fill that gap.
Trying desperately. Think about the little girl who consistently tried to make her emotionally distant father laugh or excel in school, believing that if she was funny enough, helpful enough, achieved enough, Maybe then she would finally get that approving glance, that hug, that deep connection she craved.
And that doesn't just disappear when you grow up.
No, that deep-seated longing doesn't just magically disappear in adulthood. Instead, in adult relationships, this yearning can manifest as those same caretaking behaviors. An often unconscious attempt to replicate that early dynamic, and this time, to finally achieve the longed-for emotional connection through fixing, nurturing, or being indispensable to a partner.
You're still trying to win dad's approval, essentially.
In a way, yes. The impact of early parental relationships on our attachment styles is truly profound. It shapes our expectations of intimacy and how we believe love is given and received, often leading us to seek out partners who, tragically, mirror those early unfulfilling patterns. It feels familiar, even if it's painful.
And then underpinning so much of this, there are those unhealed wounds, those internal messages.
The internal
Yeah.
monologue.
Exactly, the ones whispering that relentless, insidious message. You're not enough unless you're helping someone else. It's that quiet, corrosive voice in the back of your mind.
Always undermining.
Always telling you your mere presence isn't enough. Your inherent being isn't enough. Your quiet strength isn't enough. Only your service, your constant effort, your ability to fix and solve, only that is what makes you worthy of love and attention.
It ties worthiness directly to action, specifically helpful action towards someone perceived as needing it.
Yes. And this internal monologue of inadequacy becomes a powerful, almost inescapable driver. It compels you to constantly seek out opportunities to prove your worth by fixing, by becoming absolutely essential to someone else's well-being. It's a desperate, exhausting attempt to fill an internal void with external validation, a temporary fix that never, ever truly satisfies.
So you can see quite clearly now, I think, how these deep-seated wounds, whether from childhood trauma, an absent parent, or those insidious whispers of unworthiness, lead you, often unconsciously, to seek out men who need saving.
It makes sense now why that attraction exists.
It does. Because in a twisted yet entirely understandable way, it makes you feel valuable. It temporarily quiets that voice saying you're not enough. It validates that core unhealthy belief that your utility is your ultimate worth. You become powerfully drawn to situations and individuals where you can fulfill that deeply ingrained pattern, where you can be the rescuer, the fixer, the indispensable one. It feels purposeful, even if it's destructive.
But it's a false purpose, right? A temporary high.
Exactly. It's a temporary balm, a fleeting sense of purpose, a momentary rush of validation derived entirely from external circumstances, rather than from an internal, unshakable knowing of one's own intrinsic worth.
Which is what we really need.
Which is what we truly need for lasting peace and security. The fundamental problem, of course, is that the saving is never truly complete. People are complex, their journeys are their own, and their healing is a deeply personal, often lifelong process that they have to undertake themselves.
You can't do it for them.
You simply cannot. When we take on that role, when we attempt to be their sole healer, we embark on an endless, exhausting, and ultimately futile quest. This inevitably leads to perpetual emotional, mental, and even spiritual drainage, because that well of external validation is never deep enough to quench an internal thirst for self-worth.
You keep needing another fix.
You do. We continuously chase the next project, the next person to save, perpetuating a self-destructive cycle of exhaustion and profound disappointment. It's a false economy of love. It just doesn't pay off in the long run.
But listen closely to this, everyone listening, because this is a crucial, powerful truth emerging from our sources that needs to truly sink deep into your spirit. Get this deep down. Your value is not, and never will be, in your ability to fix him.
Amen to that.
Your worth is not determined by how broken he is or isn't. This is a liberating truth. A declaration of your inherent, unchangeable value, completely independent of anyone else.
This is a fundamental, almost revolutionary shift in perspective. It directly challenges those deeply ingrained beliefs we talked about. It calls us to recognize that we are not defined by our utility to others, nor by our capacity to mend another's brokenness.
We are more than our helpfulness.
So much more. Think about Sarah, that listener you mentioned. For years, she believed her husband's struggles were her personal project. Every victory he had felt like her victory, and every setback felt like her failure. Her whole identity was tied up in it.
I can imagine the pressure.
Immense. It was only when she truly grasped deep in her soul that her worth existed independently of his healing journey that she found profound peace. She realized her value wasn't in her doing, but in her being.
Just in being her.
Just in being Sarah.
I guess.
A profound shift that not only liberated her, but also, interestingly, allowed her husband the space to take responsibility for his own growth. but help them both.
That's powerful.
It is. You are not his healer, God is. You are a daughter, imbued with intrinsic worth, dignity, and a divine purpose. You are not a therapist assigned to someone else's emotional landscape. You are a woman of God, radiant and whole in yourself, not a tool for someone's temporary comfort or a placeholder in their journey until they get better.
Not a tool, a daughter.
Exactly. This perspective highlights your self-sovereignty and intrinsic worth. It affirms that your identity and value are inherent, unconditional, and not contingent on external circumstances or another person's perceived need for you to fix them. You are enough, just as you are.
And this brings us to another crucial layer. This isn't just an emotional struggle, is it? It's profoundly spiritual. The insights we've gleaned from our sources make that crystal clear. Recognizing this adds another dimension to understanding these tenacious patterns and why they can feel so incredibly difficult to break free from.
Absolutely. It's not just your hard mind at play here, but your spirit too.
So what does that spiritual dimension look like?
Well, what's truly fascinating here, and perhaps a sobering thought for many, is the idea that sometimes these emotionally broken connections, these cycles of needing to be needed, they aren't just happenstance. They're not simply the result of psychological patterns and unhealed wounds, though those are certainly involved.
There's more to it.
The sources we've explored suggest they can, at times, be a deliberate distraction, a spiritual tactic, if you will.
A distraction from what?
From your own life, your own purpose. If you are constantly consumed with someone else's healing, perpetually pouring your divine energy, your focus, your time into their brokenness, you never get to fully walk in your own unique calling or purpose.
You're too busy, too drained.
Exactly. You're simply too exhausted, too entangled, too focused externally to turn inward and align with your own divine path. It's a subtle but effective way to keep you tethered to a lesser path, preventing you from stepping into the fullness of who you are created to be.
And that, to me, is where it becomes truly urgent. Because this means these relationships aren't just delaying your joy, your peace of mind, or your emotional well-being, things that are important enough on their own.
Right.
They might actually be delaying your destiny, your divine assignment. It's about your calling, your unique peace, and your God-given purpose that gets sidelined, paused, or even completely redirected when you're constantly focused on fixing someone else, rather than nurturing your own sacred journey with God.
It keeps you from your own potential, your own contribution.
So how do we break free on that spiritual level?
Well, the powerful path to freedom, according to the spiritual insights within our sources, involves something quite profound called breaking the soul tie.
Soul ties. We hear that term sometimes. What does it mean in this context?
In this context, a soul tie refers specifically to an unhealthy emotional or spiritual bond, an invisible tether that connects you to another person in a way that is draining, restrictive, or profoundly inhibits your personal and spiritual growth.
So it's not like healthy connection.
No, it's distinct from healthy, God-honoring connection. This is a bond woven from dependency, unhealed wounds, shared trauma, or an unhealthy entanglement of spirits. It's an attachment that, while perhaps born of good intentions initially.
Like wanting to help.
Exactly. It ultimately pulls you away from your own wholeness and your divine alignment. It keeps you stuck.
So breaking it is about liberation.
Yes. If we connect this to the bigger picture, breaking a soul tie is not just a psychological exercise. It is a powerful act of spiritual liberation, an intentional severing of those unhealthy attachments that bind us, sometimes invisibly but very strongly.
Taking back your power.
It really is. It's about reclaiming your spiritual autonomy, your emotional sovereignty, and unequivocally declaring your independence from patterns that do not serve your highest good, nor God's perfect plan for your life. It's drawing a line in the sand, spiritually speaking.
And there's hope in this.
Immense hope. The profound truth of John 8:36 rings so loud here. It's a powerful declaration. Whom the Son sets free is free indeed.
Free indeed.
This isn't just a theological statement. It's an empowering declaration for your life, for your spirit, for your future. Just feel the profound weight of this truth for a moment. True freedom is not just emotional or physical, but deeply spiritual. A gift granted by a power beyond ourselves.
It means it's possible.
It means you could be truly, irrevocably, gloriously free from these draining patterns. Free to walk in the light and purpose intended specifically for you. Freedom is available.
And crucially, this is where your agency, your power comes back in, right? You have a choice here.
Absolutely. You are allowed to walk away from relationships that exhaust you. Let me say that again. You are allowed to walk away.
Permission granted.
Permission granted. You are allowed to say, unequivocally and without guilt, this is not love. This is emotional dependency. And recognizing that difference is huge. This is not an act of selfishness, as some might try to label it, no. It's an act of radical self-preservation and profound spiritual alignment. It's an act of courage.
So it's not abandonment, because that fear is so strong.
That's the key distinction. This isn't abandonment, as many might fear in their heart of hearts. No, it's an act of choosing obedience to God's higher design for your relationships and actively choosing healing for your own precious soul.
Choosing your own healing.
Yes, it's recognizing with clarity and conviction that true, healthy love simply cannot coexist with chronic emotional, mental, or spiritual drainage. A connection that leaves you consistently depleted, consistently questioning your worth, consistently feeling empty. It is, by its very definition, not love in its truest form. It's something else. It's a burden.
So choosing yourself is choosing God's way.
To choose yourself in such a scenario, to choose your peace, is absolutely to choose God's design for your life and relationships. It is an act of profound faith in His goodness and His plan for you.
Okay. Wow. Now that we've really unpacked what love isn't what it really shouldn't feel like, let's pivot. Let's redefine love God's way. This feels like where the hope, the clarity, and the beautiful blueprint for moving forward truly emerge. What does it actually look like in practice, in healthy, thriving covenant connections?
Yes, let's focus on the positive vision. Our sources clearly detail several beautiful characteristics of real God-designed love. Firstly, and fundamentally, real love honors boundaries.
Boundaries, so important.
Crucial. And this isn't just about physical space. It implies mutual respect for each person's individuality, their emotional limits, their spiritual autonomy, and their personal journey. There's no pushing, no violation, but rather a graceful understanding and acceptance of where one person ends and another begins.
Two distinct people.
Two distinct, respected people coming together as we, without losing the me and you in the process. Secondly, real love comes with peace, not confusion.
Peace, not confusion. I like that.
Contrast this deeply with the chaos, the gnawing anxiety, the constant questioning, and the emotional turmoil that often plague codependent relationships. A healthy connection brings a profound sense of calm, clarity, and security. Not incessant doubt or emotional storms.
It feels settled.
Settled, yes. Thirdly, real love doesn't need constant fixing to survive. It should thrive and grow organically, evolving naturally, not merely endure through endless repairs and one-sided efforts.
It shouldn't feel like constant hard labor for one person.
Exactly. While every relationship requires intentional work and effort from both sides, it shouldn't feel like a perpetual construction site where only one person is doing all the building, constantly shoring up crumbling foundations. And lastly, real love reflects God's character, not chaos.
Reflects God's character. How so?
It aligns beautifully with divine attributes like order, peace, unconditional acceptance, profound grace, and genuine support, rather than the turbulent, uncertain, and ultimately draining dynamics often seen in codependency. It's like an echo of divine order right here